Well, thanks for spending some time during your maybe holiday time. Is that the carryover
No,
here?
I'm working from home today. I had a doctor's appointment this morning, so I snuck off to the side. My daughter's with my mother-in-law and snuck off into a room to do this.
Well, thank you for taking the time to do this and being
No,
a
I'm
part of
happy
this
to be
giving.
here.
And yeah, the people that listen to the show and have followed FSHD Society, they hear, CTRN a lot, and I have on my list of questions I was given in a nutshell. What is the CTRN? For those that might not quite understand what it is, and then maybe we can talk about how it all works and bridges the gaps within the research world.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, it's a clinical trial research network that 4 academic neurologists decided that the field was missing, needed a collaborative effort between our academic institutions to help bridge the gap between drug development and working with our industry partners and our collaborators. We all know that one of the things that our industry partners and the drug companies really want is natural history data, and to make sure that all sites are trained properly, adhere to the same regulations, and of course, have knowledge of the disease and a good patient base. So what started as 4 academic institutions has now grown to 20 international institutions. And we are actually in the process of adding hopefully some Canadian sites in the very, very near future. And then, our goal is to continue to add some US sites and hopefully some European sites as we start to gain more funding. But basically, it's just a collaborative effort of experts in the field working together to collect natural history data or trial preparedness data, and ensure that sites are all trained in the same way, trained properly, have similar equipment so that when drug companies come to us and say, we are ready for a drug study, an interventional study, we're ready to just hit the ground running and not waste any time getting sites trained and up and running.
So how valuable is something like this? I mean, it sounds like it's immensely valuable.
Yeah. So I started working at KU about 6 years ago. I'm coming up on my 6th anniversary. And I feel for the first time, we're really starting to see all of our hard work come to fruition. I can say off the top of my head that we've had at least 6 or 7 drug companies that are not publicly named in collaboration with the network who have requested our data from our largest study that's running within the CTRN, the Resolve study. That study started at 160 participants. When it ends, we'll have about 320 international patients in the study. And it is proving to be extremely valuable. This has been the largest FSHD study to date. And with the data that we have collected so far in this study, it's starting to wrap up in the US, but we're starting to enroll additional patients in Europe. But with this data, it's really helping further a lot of drug development with our industry partners. And then it's also kind of showing that we are able to train sites correctly and what's the word I'm trying to say? Efficiently. That, even through, I think one of the most important things as well that this study has proven is we've survived through COVID. We haven't lost a lot of patients. We've continued to see patients. We've adapted to the environment. We've gone to, remote visits or, sending questionnaires home with patients. We've had to extend the study, which I think has also proven to be very beneficial, gathering 2 years of data as opposed to 18 months. So yeah, it's proven to be very, very valuable, I think.
So with the chapters that the FSHD Society, has the patient engagement, is that also equally important in helping with the CTRN? Does one kind of feed the other?
Absolutely. So I think one very valuable interaction with the chapters and with the CTRN is bringing on more sites. So having a really active chapter and having that chapter identify a local neurologist that they feel is an expert in the field or knowledgeable about FSHD has been really really beneficial because we then have the opportunity to open up additional sites and identify patients right off the bat who could potentially qualify for our studies.
Wow. So then the other side of it is, okay, so this is patient engagement involvement in the CTRN so that they can be part of these studies. Is that also part of it, or am I misunderstanding that aspect of it? Are you drawing from the patients from the chapters and stuff to be involved within then that network? Is that accurate?
Yeah, so I think what we have found has worked really well, especially with the Resolve study that started enrolling, I think 3 or 4 years ago. That a lot of the local chapters, as they were forming, were saying, "Hey, I'm in this study, go be in this study." So it really helped us identify additional participants. But I think that it's also extremely beneficial that if one person's in a drug study and the whole group doesn't know about it, they can at least let them know, "Hey, I was in this. So far, this has been my experience," and it can help encourage patients to participate in the future, especially as we start to hopefully get inundated with research studies.
Right. Man. So, we heard earlier from, Scott Harper and others in the research world. I asked the questions of, did they believe that we were kind of on pace with our goal of treatment by 2025? From your vantage point, from your viewpoint, what do you say to that? You think that as a community, we're on pace of hitting that goal?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there are no guarantees with any research
Right.
study. That as researchers, we always have to give that disclaimer. We hope whatever comes to clinic works, but there are no guarantees. Our biggest thing right now is making sure that it's safe and then effective. But yeah, I mean, like I said, we have been in close collaboration and it's public knowledge with Avidity and with Dyne Therapeutics. And then I know of at least 3 to 4 others that we are in talks with to potentially collaborate with them as they start to bring phase 1 studies to clinic as well.
Okay.
And then we always have, we're always looking as researchers and as academic institutions at repurposed drugs, kind of like what Fulcrum did with losmapimod, identifying a drug that's already out there and see what effects that it has on the disease.
When it comes to days like this, a fundraising event like, Giving Tuesday or the walk and rolls, many of our listeners have helped, fund the CTRN, through those donations. So I'd imagine in a day like this is kind of important from the aspect of your vantage point there, right? I mean, kind of helps fuel it. Where's this money going? It's kind of headed your direction.
It's absolutely crucial. The FSHD Society their funding could not come at a better time. They really were our groundbreaking funders, I guess what you would say. They helped, fund the initial sites of the CTRN. Our first 3 years, we were able to expand to 12 sites. And then having that leverage has given us the opportunity to then help collaborate with industry partners and then other foundations to also leverage the funds from the FSHD Society to expand and to, do more studies, which is our goal in the end.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So people donate.
Yes, donate.
We're
It goes
giving
to a really
prime
good cause.
examples. Exactly. It sure does. So what's your hopes then as we move into 2022? I've asked this question of others, but obviously each perspective is very unique and different. I know you talked about growth into Canada and maybe some European sites as well. Is that something that you're looking for in as early as this next year?
Yeah. So we hope to bring our hope. We're very close is to bring some Canadian sites on in the first part of 2022. And then, I think something that obviously we've everyone in the community knows about, is to help incorporate pediatrics into our studies as well. We know that is a group that has been, I don't want to say left out, but they haven't been in any research studies. So it's kind of also building on what we've already done with the tools that we have in place, and helping put those in place for pediatric studies or for pediatric patients. So they can hopefully be included as more drug trials start to come to clinics.
Excellent. Yeah, I know that.
And then of course, getting that first gene-based therapy. That's my goal.
Because I know that we've had representation on a past show of our early onset group that's just started.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of targeting the young patients that I even, shame on me, my own self, of like, why didn't we talk about this sooner? Why haven't we talked about this sooner? So this is a massive impact that way then, right? The CTRN affecting those patients as well. I mean, this is huge.
Yeah.
This is more than just one generation of this disease. This is helping the young as well.
Absolutely, which is so hard because so much attention goes to the adult onset, just because with all of the tools we have in place, it's easier to study adults, and there are more adults out there. But obviously there is that need to also study the childhood onset and see how that progresses, and what tools we can put in place to also track that progression.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Yeah, that's kind of important, now more than ever, that we're not forgetting the generation of the early onset, right? Even Louise Hoffman is coming on next, and she's going to talk about that generation as well of being an impact on this disease, not only just to find the cure, but kind of raising their hands like, we have a voice in this too. And
right.
I find that we're getting stronger through the generations now, not just, okay, it's more common, yes, you get this diagnosis in your 40s or so on, but there's a good portion of people that can't be forgotten. So it's awesome that this is touching all the aspects of the community.
For sure. And likely they're more affected. So it's, capturing them at a younger age, and when there are therapeutics that are available, getting them access right away.
Yeah. When it comes to anything that we can do, like as a community, before we let you go, is there a way that, the community can get directly involved? There might be some that it's like, okay, how do I get involved within this CTRN? Is there some steps I have to take? So
yeah,
my question.
So
how do I get involved?
Yeah, so we have a Facebook page. We also have a website that if you just Google FSHD CTRN, it'll pop up. It lists all of our current sites. Some of our European sites are on there. We're waiting for contracts for a couple of our newer European sites. But there's a contact person at each site. You can always email me. My information's on there. I get people who email me from all over the world. I put them in contact with their local site, and then, they get on a list at the site, or they enroll in a study. Usually all it takes is getting on a list at a site near you, and then they reach out to you as they start to have research opportunities, and see if you'd qualify. But research is very important. I know natural history studies aren't the funnest and they aren't the sexiest thing out there, but they are just as important, I promise you.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm glad that you said that. It means more coming from me. Well, thank you very much, Kiley, for joining us, taking some time out of your day, and being a part of this event today. We really appreciate it, and everything you do for our community.
No, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right. So there you guys go. That's another source of why this money is so important. Another example. Kiley brings it to you that way. It is important. So we get the networking. I mean, just imagine having basically it all set up, ready to go, proper training, patient ready. I mean, it's just going to make things run really smooth. That's what we need. We need no more hiccups. COVID was bad enough. I think this is huge to have the CTRN working so seamlessly like it is.